Hello to all CLAT aspirants. I am Gejo. This is GP with me.
Hello.
And what we're going to do is to do a new series called What Do Toppers Do Differently? And we'll take one idea and then we'll share that idea with you and hope that this will be very useful to you.
Yeah, absolutely right, Gejo. Typically, when I talk to many students, they think toppers are some aliens who are born intelligent, who know everything under the sun, and hence they top. The reality actually is slightly different. The difference between a topper and others is that the topper is probably a little more diligent. It is more his or her preparation is a little more structured, and there are certain behavioral traits they have which are slightly different from others, and hence they are toppers. It is not that they are from a different planet. And you're absolutely right. The purpose of this is to essentially identify those traits which you as a CLAT or any other aspirant can pick up and probably copy and ensure you also become one of those toppers in future.
So,
Okay.
what do toppers do?
Hmm.
Now, I must tell you that me and GP has been doing this for now 20 years. Me 20 years, GP 25 years. And each of us has seen toppers, not just in CLAT, but also in other exams like CAT and GMAT and all exams. And there are certain traits that we have seen, which is very common across everyone. Right, GP? You've seen there's
Yeah.
no different. Yeah.
No, actually, there's no difference between the traits when I look at a CAT topper, when I look at a CLAT topper, when I look at an engineering topper, when I look at a UPSC topper. There's a huge amount of similarity. There's a huge amount of similarity because the behavior I would say is the same. Those traits of preparation with respect to preparation are very similar. So while we are addressing essentially the law aspirants or the CLAT IELTS aspirants, the reality is the same traits are visible in the students who are doing who are getting into IIMs or IITs or clearing UPSC exams. And this is what I have seen. I'm here since 1995, and since 95 I have seen this continuously, that there is a common thread which runs through all the toppers irrespective of which exam we are talking about, whether it's a CAT or a IPM or a law or a UPSC or IIT or any other exam for that matter.
True. To get started, let's first look at the resources that everyone has.
Hmm.
Books and material, some topic tests, section tests, mock tests. Within that, there is CLAT, ALET, SLAT, NLAT, LSAT India, and there are also all the lessons, whether it is video lessons or online lessons. You have resources to all of these.
And
But
not only
even
that, not only that, Jijo, in today's world, there are many students who love to hoard material, and the kind of material they have would be the envy of any coaching institute. They typically have more material than 3 coaching institutes combined, and hence the 5 items you have written, to me this is a very incomplete list. There are probably 10 other things they would have with them. Okay.
plus 10 other things. So let me put it that way. But in this case, what we're going to look at is we're just going to look at one aspect, which is mock test, and we'll look at CLAT mock test. CLAT mock test. At this point in time, I'm not looking at topic tests, not section tests, not books and material. At this current point, I'm not looking at other tests or not the lesson, just the mock test. And starting with how many CL-LST mocks did they take? So I'm talking about the toppers. How many of these mocks they take? Again, I'm not talking about section tests. I'm not talking about topic tests. I'm not talking about tests in general. I'm specifically talking about mock test. GP, why do you think this is important? This question?
Gio, this is a very important question because most of the students who are preparing, they tend to push these mocks to later and later. Okay. The majority of students, they are waiting for that this so-called mythical syllabus to be over. I'm saying mythical for the simple reason there's no syllabus for CLAT, for example. English is unseen passage, which you have been doing since you were in class 6th or 7th. Logical reasoning is now very similar to reading comprehension. Maybe a bit of critical reasoning concepts are required, but that's half a day job at best. Thirdly is legal reasoning. Legal reasoning today is again English, reading comprehension, critical reasoning, whatever you want to call it. So for while there are 3 different sections in CLAT, These are practically all three of them are looking at your comprehension and basic reasoning, verbal reasoning skills. Okay, so it is reading, which is the critical part. Then when you look at maths or data interpretation now, all it is checking is your basic percentage calculation skills, ratios, which is again what you studied in 9th, 10th. And GK, there's no syllabus. So there's it is a sea. It's an ocean rather. You can never complete GK. This year we had this World Water Day question. I was wondering after the paper how many would have even thought of looking at World Water Day or something similar. So GK is infinite. You can never complete it. But if you keep taking mocks, every mock has 50 questions. Sorry, 40 odd questions of GK, and you will 40 35. Sorry, I've mixed up the old and the new pattern. Okay, every paper has sufficient number of questions of GK and areas which will only help your preparation. So many students just say, I will complete my classes, I'll complete my syllabus, then come for mocks. The toppers, most of the time I found, do it differently.
So let's check. I've got some data, GP. So I've taken the top 10 rankers, the 9 of them that we have. Okay.
Yeah.
So some of them are two-year classroom students, some of them are test series students, but that is irrelevant. What is relevant is to actually look at the number of mocks they have taken. 40, 33, 27. Mind you, this is CLAT mock. I'm not counting anything else. I'm not counting section tests. I'm not counting topic tests.
So Gejo, forget about others. Even if you add the IELTS mocks, forget about others, because most of these toppers would be essentially interested in the CLAT, IELTS, and LSAT. So even if you add IELTS mocks, this number is going to become 50% more, if not double.
Yeah. 60 plus at least. Now there is one thing that is it across? I mean, I have taken data of, let's say, the classroom students who have done well. Our classroom students who have done well in the CLAT, and you see 40, 33, 27, 34, 26, 37, 40, 27, 36, 32, 33, 28, 33, 22, 25, 28, 40. You keep on looking at this, you will hardly find someone who's less than 25. You probably will find someone, but you actually see something that is absolutely common across all these students. Even for the matter, somebody has picked up a test series or somebody has picked up a classroom, but all these set of students have taken mock test GP. So what is takeaway GP from this?
The first thing is that a serious candidate, a so-called topper, is typically very, very diligent about taking these papers, and most of the time, not always, but most of the time is taking papers as per the schedule. Okay, why am I saying most of the time? Because obviously there are some variations, some deviations on that. But what typically happens is they follow the schedule, and they don't pile up work. Okay, so what they're effectively doing is, many students, they say, I will take papers in the end. But if you are piling up your work so much, then taking paper becomes a task in itself. Okay, so they are diligent about taking the paper. They don't pile up their work. They don't procrastinate. They don't defer it. They say, okay, the work has to be done, because after all, if we have given a mock schedule, it is with certain kind of academic inputs, that this is the way you should be taking, this is the way papers should be spread, this is the reason why mock 1 is mock 1, and this is the reason why mock 10 is 10, and not the other way around. Okay, so there's a logic behind the test series schedule, behind the schedule of the mock CLATs and mock IELTS and everything. So they just follow that to the T, and that is one big takeaway from my point of view.
I think other thing that you do is that, so if there is no other resources, I mean, you can count books, you can count topic tests, you can count section tests, you can even count, let's say, lessons, you can count anything GP. There is no other resource where the toppers do as diligent as mocks. If you talk to any one of them, and I'm not just talking about CLAT, I'm talking about all tests. One thing that I will say is how important these mocks are. I'm sure GP have heard them. No, so they take they keep mock as their one of their top priority in the whole preparation process. That's something that I've seen, GP.
From a CLAT perspective, there are two habits I've found which were common. Among the many habits I found which are common, two things I said were always top priority for them. One was mocks, other was GK. Okay, mocks they would not compromise on. By and large, they said yes, we had to take mocks. I asked them And when I was interviewing most of these students, it was very common. Yeah, mocks had to be taken. If we don't take mocks, how will we improve? How will you know where we stand? How will we know what the gaps are? And second, GK, because it is infinite, I have to do it on a daily basis, a bit here or there. I may take off here, and the second thing is GK, they become serious after October, November, not before that. Mocks they can start before that also. So it is, you can say last 6 to 8 months is GK focus is very, very diligent. Mock focus is throughout. Whenever they start the preparation, very soon they start taking mocks.
So another thing I want to add now so is, do they actually score high in mocks? There is an assumption that I took a mock test, my score is low, I'm going to prepare for some time, and then these toppers are behaving differently. They probably are having the same score. So what we did was we took the data of all the tests that I've taken, again, only the CLAT test of all the students that we talked about. Obviously, we cannot show all of them. We'll show a few of them and show how their mock score is. Let me first show you this. It starts with the GP, the top rankers. So this is rank 1. So by and large, you can actually see it is mostly more than 100. So this will be one of those person who has always done well in the mock test. So this is what typically everybody imagine that everyone is, that there is a consistent sort of high score that is there with fluctuations, a straight line.
See, Manar is I would say a slightly different kind of a kid. Okay, when I say slightly different, he's very. In the interview, I found it to be very grounded, very practical, very reasonable, and someone who has clarity on how to go about things. So my guess is even before he went into this, okay, another thing about Manar is he has got very good reading habit. Because he has good reading habit, 3 out of 5 sections were not a problem for him. Okay.
Also, maybe he has. This is the second year. He has already prepared. He was preparing for 1 year, attended all the classes. So maybe that would have helped as well. Probably.
That's a huge thing. While most of the time students are not very serious, and neither was Manhar very serious in the first year. But what typically happens in the first year is, because you are not serious, your learning is better. You're not paranoid. Oh, I have to make sure I understand this concept. In the first year, typically learning happens at a fairly slow pace, and then slowly you keep learning without worrying too much about it. The panic sets in actually in the last 3 to 6 months. So the best thing about a 2-year program is, first year you can have fun, but you would have learned so much that when you enter the second year, you don't really need to focus on too much of learning.
So there are some more data of first year. Nidhi was rank 2, has taken 33 mocks, and then started at a low scores.
Look at not only throughout. There have been 60s in the later also. There's a 66 later. So scores fluctuate. And this is one thing I found that what Nidhi talked about, not only Nidhi but others also, that they were able to handle this fluctuation very comfortably. When I say comfortably, they did not panic. Shit, I've got a 66, my life is ruined. That is not the reaction. Okay, I got the 66. What did I do wrong in this paper so that I don't repeat those mistakes? Where was I lacking? Was it the knowledge? Was it the extremely difficult paper? What was the issue? They tried to address the issue rather than panic.
Now we have a rank 3 Karthik. He is our test series student. But he taken 27 of the mock test, and his score has been reasonably fine throughout his preparation. That's what I see with Karthik. You get to Shweta. You interviewed Shweta. She started pretty strong. She was but then she had a drop. She started strong, dropped again, but didn't give up CP, and actually went at it and did well. And she was talking about this last test. Remember that she got panicked. And I think that
in fact, this is
Nidhi also said that.
Yes, yeah. So Shweta, interesting case. In the first attempt, she had a rank of about 1200 odd, 1100, 1200. So that she started with 122 should not be a surprise from that point of view. Though one for the rank of 1200, 122 was a very high score. Okay, but the critical thing is, she went down. She came up. She was again diligent, and from her point of view, said mocks again was something for her. Newspaper and mocks were the most important resources for her. Okay, and that is what she kept on focusing.
We have mock number 7, Sukham, and this is Nidhi's study buddy, by the way,
That's
and
right.
he has said that he's always been one of the kids who done well. And some of this fluctuation also happens because maybe the mock itself is slightly difficult.
Uh,
I think it is quite possible. Some mocks, I think there are level of difficulty that's there as well. No.
two reasons I would say. The level of difficulty of the paper could have gone up or gone down, hence the extreme fluctuation. The second thing is I could be experimenting to find out what is the right approach for me. Third thing is uh, maybe I had some in that paper had thrown up a certain kind of question which is my weak area, and I got exposed in that particular plane. It is certainly you are a good batsman of let's say fast bowling, and certainly you have a turning track. So this one of these papers could be a turning track for you, and hence you struggled, and that meant that is an area which is a weak one. So please go back and study and improve on that area.
So towards the end, we did give some tough ones. I think we should change that next year. Rank number 6, Aditi, 34 mocks. And again, you see the score with the same story everywhere. Sometimes you get high, sometimes it gets low. But 34 mock tests, did not take the first couple of them. After that, diligently, every single test she has taken without fail. And that's what Aditi has done. Let's move to Shreyas. From the 13th of mock, I believe that is when the Shreyas picked a test series program.
Yeah.
And then from then on, never missed even one mock, probably towards the end. In which case, this would be very close to the CLAT. It would
These
make
would be very
sense.
close.
Very close
Yeah.
to the CLAT. So these are the important period where never missed even one mock test and started taking everything. And then you see that that's low scores and high scores, that fluctuation. We look at Garima took our test series slightly towards the end, but once that started again, you have that score. And again, that's a story. I think this would have been a very difficult journey, but again, she fought, never gave up, and fought till the very end to eventually get rank number 9.
Gejo, typically I've found an interesting phenomena for most of the mock takers, where they again there's across exams. The first paper typically they score high. It's the subsequent papers where the challenge happens. The reason possibly is when they take the first mock, they don't have any expectations from themselves. They just go and take the paper. After you have prepared for a month or so, or you have done some work, you go back and think, now I have to crack this paper. And you change your behavior completely. And that is why you find the scores coming down. So when you take the first paper, no pressure, no expectations from yourself. Subsequent paper, you start expecting that you will do well, and hence you start pressurizing yourself, which leads to poorer scores.
Shruti, by the way, also got IPM call. So
That's an
she was
interesting girl.
she was telling me that she was preparing for IPM. She had applied to some schools abroad as well. A lot of things going on, but she's also the study
It's
buddy
going
gang
to be a
of.
tough. She's going to be a tough call for her to decide which one to go for.
Yeah, so she also had this a bit of lows and ups
Yeah.
and down, but they kept at it. And so, what would be the takeaway here from all this? At least these 9 people that you have seen, GP.
From my point of view, the takeaway that I will look at is that for these kids, the paper was a tool for improvement. The paper is a tool for learning. A paper and something which Manas said. I'll just repeat that part. I might be off by a word or two, but he said this paper is not going to give me admission anywhere. It's a mock at end of the day. I have to use this paper to prepare, to learn, to identify my flaws and improve. Okay, so doing poorly in a mock should not be an issue at all, because I have ample time to improve, and which is why taking mocks diligently, regularly, over the full period of preparation is very important. And if you bunch all the mocks in the end, as I was saying earlier, what would happen is you would not have time to improve yourself.
But one other thing that I actually see is that none of them they kept on taking these mock tests. They kept on taking the mock tests.
That's right.
One could be that these mock tests is adding value to them. This is good tests, right? I think at least that is something that we can vouch for in terms of the content that we create for the mock test.
That goes without saying. If these were not good papers, they would not come back to it. So
Correct,
I
but
would say that is given. That is given that these are good papers. They are given, and the kind of let's say backend we have. Possibly once we should do a interview of Shivku also to tell students how the papers are created. But that's a separate story. Okay, so if they were not good papers, they would not come back. But the critical thing is they kept coming back, They kept
Yeah.
taking the paper irrespective of what score they got, and they would analyze the paper. And I say they looked at this as a tool of learning. All of them said after the paper, 2 hour paper meant we would be analyzing the paper for 3 to 4 hours.
So what actually look at it, imagine somebody taking, let's say, 30 tests, right?
Mhm.
That person would have taken the test for 2 hours. And I'm
Right.
sure these people analysis would be 2 or 3 hours at least, GP, would be.
Minimum 4, I would say. A 2 hour paper will take typically 4 hours, because then what does an analyst need? You need to do the paper again, identify which are the questions you got wrong and why. So you need to look at the solution. Even the ones which you have got right, you need to check out, was it a fluke or is my logic intact? Okay, so
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 this
you
means,
need to go to the third thing out there is also, did I waste time anywhere? Which are the questions I wasted time in? Which are the questions I should avoid doing in future because I don't have knowledge? In GK, I should have finished in 5 to 6 minutes. Why did I take 12 minutes? Because those 7 extra minutes in GK would obviously be taken away from some other section. Okay, so that is where analysis is required, and it takes at least 4 hours for the 2 hour paper.
so let's say, for example, let's say that this is 6 into 3, about 180 hours. I'm
Yeah.
sure that this is also, they are taking other mock tests. So you actually look at the way in which they are behaving.
Mhm.
Once they understand, so what are the areas? We have got English, we have got logic, we have got legal, which I'm going to count as one, maybe legal slightly differently. Then you have got GK, when you have got math. What eventually these people would have realized is that okay, fine, these three areas are by and large very similar in skills. Okay, I can, the basic of maths can be done. I would need to improve on this. That I'm sure there'll be that point in which the preparation is GK and mock, because if they're taking every single mock test and learning for it, it's not a joke, right? Imagine, let's say, each mock having probably about 8 to 8, let me count 8 9 legal section GP. That's about 240 good sets of learning, and they're spending
Yeah.
time in that, and that's what is making the, I think what also tells me is that uh, tells me is that they have basically used, like what GP is, a tool for learning. I have taken a test, I have analyzed the test, I have understood what the gap is. Then I know what are the specific areas I need to work on. I go work on that particular area. Therefore, this makes my preparation very effective. And this is without question, without
Right.
question, one of the
And
most important tools for preparation.
yeah.
Let me show some fighters. I can give examples of the example. I'm just picking about 3 4 of them. For example, we have got Vedika, who's ranked 48, started at 33, 55, 67, and fought hard, did not even miss. You can actually look at her story. This is a story, did not miss, fought, and learned from every single test. I remember talking to her, GP, is that she learned, she changed her ways, and then started seeing a movement in her score. And she could have given up at any point in time. She did not. Let's take for
And
sorry.
that last thing, Gejo, is very important. She could have given up. She did not. I would say that if you look at the takeaway three, these are fighters. All toppers, they will not give up easily. They'll say, okay, this is the score. Let me sit down, understand what went wrong, so that I don't repeat that mistake.
Yeah. Next one, Arib. So I don't know what happened here. Okay, he started that, and then
Is he not the study buddy group of Manhar, and there
yeah,
was one more person? Mhm.
Manar, Rushil, and Shruti group.
Yeah.
That group.
Mhm.
So maybe this will be Manar in my impact got him to get in track, and then he went ahead
Maybe
and
he
he
just
fought.
became serious at this point of time and said, maybe now I need to start working.
Yeah, and we have, for example, Hardik. Look at his case. One thing I want to show here, GP, is that I think one of the things that we look at our scores like this. So I'm just gonna make it. We look at the score in this particular fashion. My score is fluctuating too much. My score is fluctuating too much. I don't know what is going on. Nothing has happened to
Right.
me. Let me stop and do something. But what you're actually missing out, and that is something that I would like to show you, is that there will be that minor uh, let me actually get this back. Okay, minor thing, but you can actually see that whatever is that minor fluctuation, there is that trend
Yes.
that you can actually see. So the fluctuation that is happening in the score is not something that you should worry about. There is always going to be that a certain trend, and of course, at a certain point in time, you start plateauing, but then at least you know that you should not give up on the whole process. For if at all, if you are a CLAT aspirant, I cannot tell you how important is a mock test.
And Jijo, one thing which I would also like to point out, frankly, many people look at only the rank. To me, whether it is rank 1 or 10 or 50 does not really matter. Because as long as you're among up to rank 75, all of you will be in NLU Bangalore only. So whether you're rank 1 or rank 75, both will be in the same institute. So which is why when you're also preparing, you need to be clear, as long as I'm in this range of rank, it is fine. Okay, and that you will be able to know only after you have taken a few papers. Then you will say, okay, what is my level, where is it I'm likely to plateau or settle.
So we have Rakshit
Yeah.
again started. Though probably there is some this preparation happened. They probably would have realized. I'm not too sure. Maybe we should speak to him. And I've not spoken to him. My gut feeling is that thought of let me do some
No,
syllabus. Then
many times, Jijo, the school exams also come in, those issues come in,
okay.
but the critical thing is that by and large they have been taking papers on a regular basis.
After that, he's never missed anything, and not even
Yeah,
a single mark. I'm looking at count 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12,
yeah.
13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Which one did he miss?
Mm,
So there is every single test has been taken, and from scores as low as 30, 50, you can move. And there are many more stories like this. I just don't have time to fill this sheet. It's go on and on. The
mm.
takeaway 3, GP, what was it for you?
I
The
think we
same thing,
have
I'm sure.
yeah, I hope we are not repeating ourselves in this case. Uh,
The
if,
I'm saying this one. I have two
mm,
things. First is don't give up.
mm.
Second is don't. It is a mock test. Okay.
It's a mock.
It's a mock. It is.
Mm,
It is. I think this is. I'm reiterating. Okay. I'm sure we are
right.
repeating this.
Mm,
People look at a mock test and go have all sort of emotion, feel very
mhm,
crazy or very sad. Sometimes absolutely thrilled. I got some score. This
mm.
all these emotions are irrelevant.
Yes.
Okay, so all that you are looking at, this is where you can get the maximum amount of learning. There is nothing, I think there is no other
Mm,
sort of resources that can give
mm,
you learning as much as
mm,
what mock test is, because no other material will tell you, for example, how are you behaving. No other material will tell you that
mm,
for
mm.
example, what is the pressure of handling this in 2 hours, 2 hours. So I
And
think this is what.
this is very important, Gija, what you said, because a typical school or college exam, if it's a 3 hour paper, they'll give you so many questions that you can complete in 2 hours 45 minutes. A school college exam is not a time pressure issue. However, when you look at these aptitude tests, whether it is CLAT, ALET, CAT, any other exam, you will find typically the time available is not sufficient to complete the paper. So you are always under pressure to complete. And if you are rushing, if you are moving fast, there's always a chance of making a mistake. Okay, and which are the issues which you will have to handle when you start taking these mocks. Now look at this way. If you say in school exams I've always done well, so I'll do well here. No, those exams are different. The nature of the test is different. Here you have to learn to handle time pressure, also something which is completely missing in your school exams. The other thing which is very important is that your school exams, if you look at it 2 or 3 hour papers, I think most of the school exams are 3 hour papers. And out of 3 hours, you're probably writing for 2 hours 45 minutes, if not more. Okay, and many students are writing for 3 or 5 minutes because they'll wait for the examiner to snatch the sheet. But in this exam, out of 2 hours, how many hours are you writing? These are reading papers. And you have to develop the habit of reading at a fast pace without compromising on your comprehension over 2 hours. So 2 hours, you'll be writing for those 10 questions of maths, possibly 10, 12, 14 questions of maths. How much will you write? 10 minutes, 15 minutes? The balance 100 minutes you'll be reading. So these are two critical things about the paper which you need to look at, and which is why I would say mock tests are learning tools. Don't give up. Initially, you will have a very good score or a disaster. It would not matter because it will get averaged out in the next 4 5 papers, and then your real journey starts.
Yeah, GP. And I'm sure that we're going to repeat, but we can sum things up. What
Yeah,
it
you can.
is, and I'm going to write, okay.
Yeah,
What it
great.
is that it is a learning tool.
Hmm,
Okay, it is a learning tool, and I'm also saying that this is a most important learning tool.
hmm.
What it is not, it is not CLAT. Okay,
It
so
is
it
not
is
flat.
it
It
is
won't
not.
give you admission anywhere.
Okay, it does
But
not give any admission. It tests. It is when I say it is not CLAT, it does not give it. So therefore, don't attach. This is not a test where you look at. This is not something that you can say what are my chances.
hmm,
No, this is not what it is. It is a learning tool. It is a
hmm,
tool which helps you understand the specific skill set that you need. So the moment you look at your mock test as a preparation tool, the
hmm.
mock test tells you what needs to be done, and then you start seeing the value of the mock test. You start improving on those specific areas, and that's something, GP, that I believe as a summary that I can give. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. Just one small thing I would want to add. When we say it is not CLAT, it is CLAT for all practical purposes. The only difference is it is not giving you admission into any NLU. That's the only
CLAT without
difference.
CLAT without
Without
admissions.
Yes, so since it cannot give you admission, obviously it is not CLAT. But because it cannot give you admission, it allows you to learn. It tells you, okay, these are the gaps. Go through this process, go through those 25, 30, 40 mocks, learn from your mistakes in each of those paper, and hence CLAT becomes the 41st mock for you.
So, ladies and gentlemen,
Okay.
what we are saying is this: when we give you the mock test from number one, you are taking it,
and
and you're
and
not
and and,
feeling bad about it.
and also analyzing the papers. Okay,
Yeah.
you should analyze the papers in detail. We will come back in another video and tell you how the paper should be analyzed. But please start taking the papers, because if you don't take the paper, that second video is going to be a complete waste of time for us. Okay.
Yeah, and just don't worry at this point in time. Don't attach any value to this. Just ensure. I'm again repeating this. It's a learning tool. It's a very important learning tool. If you miss this learning tool, I think it's eventually this is what it is. GP, let me end like this. You have a set number of time that you have in your preparation. Now, that is fixed, right?
Hmm.
And you're filling the time with your preparation. And if you're not taking this mock test, I think you're missing out on a great opportunity to learn. There is nothing else. I can't say this enough. And this is something that I've seen across test. Across test. I'm talking about an experience for 20 years, GP from 1995. I started this from 2000. Right. So I've seen students the year after year after year who was from then who have become successful throughout their life, and that this is something that I've seen happening.
Absolutely. So hopefully this will help you. And so we'll come back with another video later. Thank you. All the best.
Thank you.